Some people probably like the squirrel from God of War more than Boulder, but I'm not judging.
Objection!
I think if you've been gaming for a certain amount of time, you amount to like a new kind of fandom. Going from cool, they can do a backflip to ooh, they can do a backflip. From okay, cool, they can open that with an axe to oh my god, they can open that with an axe. From awesome kill to oh, I wish they could kill me. Too far? Like I've got more. Like oh, look at them, they're riding a bike. No, okay. That is, yep, too far. Oh god, this is gonna be a weird video. But that got me thinking. Can people, things, whatever they are, be in video games? Or even should they? So let's mumble about that. To start this off, we need to gut that elephant in the room. I don't need anyone to say, ooh, Lara Croft and Crash Bandicoot should have big moments, and that's the reason people aren't playing them, because they don't. That isn't what the video will be about. So leave them comments at the door. Like and subscribe to join the babbling horde. It's kind of a weird thing to think about because it does feel like it's really in a lot of games, and you think further and it's in a lot more games than you realise. Because I was going to use Persona 5 as an example of it not having that kind of feeling, as I really thought it didn't have any of that kind of in it. Looking into it though, I was really wrong about that. So then you can kind of go this one step further and ask, should it really be in there for the story? And 87% of the time, I'd probably say no, it wasn't needed. But then you look at some games, maybe Persona 5, for weirdly dark reasons that we won't fully cover here. Yes-ish. Because of the dark themes used in this way of characters being more sexualized throughout the whole experience, it does add kinda to the weight of the story to an extent. More because it's right in your face when some of the events are taking place. It's subtle underlined throughout the whole kind of story, especially the first one, first kind of palace area. So let's go down a more lighter route and talk about gods in games. Gods in game is kind of a weird one because they are meant to be the perfect being. But on the other hand, perfection is in the eye of the person, beholder, or whatever that saying is. Then though, that could open the argument to what classifies as in video games, but that is going maybe slightly too far into that argument. Some people probably like the squirrel from God of War more than Boulder, but I'm not judging.
Objection!
Even though I do think when a god is designed into a game, it may be being does kind of make sense if it's more than the other characters. I do think in some places though they have done this well. God of War with Thor, with him being a bit more on the gut side, but in the end that was said to be the peak of fitness, like a war heavy brawler type fitness, I suppose.
Okay.
Did this with other characters like Freya. She was a warrior princess, so it makes more sense. So that argument of God needs these bigger moments, bigger aspects kind of feeling to them or design to them, because it's not really a feeling, it's more of a design, does fall flat pretty quickly. But a lot of the godly women in games are warriors of death, or at least warriors of some kind, with that makes them a lot more sense that they are designed that way as warriors. For story reasons, should this kind of disproportionate people or things or beings to be in these games? The only one though I can kind of think of that did it really kind of well was Witcher 3. When you do look at this kind of argument at its core, and if it really should be there, it kind of boils down to respecting the character no matter what the gender is. And I think a great example of kind of respecting this character is when we look at Witcher 3. I think it does have that kind of respect. There is a kind of balance across the board. There's your 10s, there's your 7s, there's your 5, and everything else in between. There is this building of a whole world, so many things, including this argument. This would be a kind of perfect balance, and other games do this as well. Baldur's Gate 3 is another one with that balance. But then, sadly, I had to go one step further into my research on this and look at other people's thoughts on this subject. What I really didn't want to do. One of them being Uncharted 2 with Cleo, a character I can't really remember the whole story, but the argument was that she uses her stuff to kind of get information. Even though kind of a boring film trope today, if a man or woman uses what they have to their advantage in the story, it makes sense for them to be overdone, but in a realistic way. Take like James Bond, he's probably used it a lot of different times in the films, but I can't remember. He might even use it in the new game. On another note, people argued that Nier Automata, but really when you look at the game, if anyone walked in the room and saw you playing this game, they'd probably ask you, why the hell are these androids, or probably people, they don't know they're androids, wearing maid outfits? Then when you think about it, there is a clearer detail possibly showing how kind of creepy the creators of the androids were. This kind of adding to the story in a kind of dark way, as we mentioned before. And I think it kind of explains about the people who were in this world. I think they're possibly dead throughout the whole kind of story, and the people, what they were developing, as it gives us that detail of the world and the villains and kind of a darker story here without telling you. It's a very weird way to show, not tell. Could have been a lot worse. To me though, it does feel like it can be this ovalish,
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
character, but if you show respect to this character, it does still add to the story. So it doesn't really matter what they look like if they have respect to the character. Doesn't matter if they are any character really. If you respect the character's story and kind of add elements to them and actually add a story to them, I don't know if it matters as much. The way it's done for men as well in games feels more tasteful and more respectful, but less from the developer's side and more from the eyes of the player. It's not the anime type girl clothing stuff or the hair is the clothing. It's just a man doing cool stuff in a tight top. That's it. Then we go into games like Baldur's Gate 3 that kind of has this modern world pattern there of inclusion. It's that self-aware political world power kind of full of spicy stuff. One of the most popular games for over the past couple of years.
Is a one good?
And that does kind of cover all the different type of things, but also makes it slightly weirder, even in the trailer. I never got that cutscene. Don't know how you got that. Comment below how you got that cutscene. On that note though, I don't want to sleep with every character I play as in a game. Horizon Forbidden West. Now, if you want Aloe, Frozen's ruined my pronunciation of her name. To have double Fs, you have a problem, and I'm not getting into that. These characters who should be more on this human side, being human, these weird photos of these characters are just strange. And to this day, I don't understand why they don't just play the games where they do have this element and why they complain about the other good games. I don't think it's wrong to have these over-sexualized places in the area of games. I do think that it has to be balanced. For every Bayonetta, you need a Dante. For every Stellar Blade, you have a Leon. For every Sagarus, you have a Malalas. I'm talking about Hades. A good example of this kind of balance is kind of Hades 2. The main characters have this balance to them. They're kind of both kind of character between the male character and the female character. So it does kind of add to it when there is a balance through the whole game. When there's a balance between characters and it's not just focused, say, just on the women in the characters, it does make more sense to both of them be disproportionate in many different ways. And I think like this Hades 2, the Hades franchise, and kind of like Baldur's Gate are kind of perfect examples of that done in a good way. When it has kind of something for everyone, you get what I mean? Like that kind of thing. People are liking the grey-haired vampire, people are liking Shadowheart, people are liking the red hellfire demon thing. Take a game like Stellar Blade. Yeah, we have to talk about it. That is literally made to basically for people who really want the Dark Souls with balloons. It's a weird place when you think, as it's not tasteful, it's blatant, and it's kind of too blatant and just kind of makes you feel sort of awkward playing the game. Being said, I do think it needs to be tasteful. Look at Leon S. Kennedy opening something with an axe. Very tasteful, very simple. People like it. There is a place though where there's a weird balance across the board. There's six packs. There are fish bowls everywhere. For the eyes can see. 6 packs and fish poles. That's a t-shirt idea. That six-packs and fish bowls. And I suppose if everyone is wearing nothing and it's built like a brick house, that is kind of balanced. So really, do I think that is there a place for that good old sexy witch? Yes, but do I think it needs to have a certain tone, a balance that kind of needs to be there for the whole experience? Yes. Places like Persona and Forbidden West are these places that shouldn't really have them there because it's set in these realistic environments and human people are kind of the focus. Should game like Street Fighter and weirdly Resident Evil have them? Yes. If this has offended anyone, I apologize for that, but it was kind of just a thought process I had. Should it be in the games? I do kind of think it should be to an element, but it does feel a lot better when it has that kind of tasteful approach to it, when it's balanced across the board. However, we do all have the choice of what games we play, don't we? Even though I do think it should be kind of pulled back how much they do sometimes do it, and if they take away the respect of some characters, mostly women, that would be bad. Suspect it. Like going on about characters what are generally attractive because they don't have like chests like gorillas. It doesn't make any sense to me. Horizon Forbidden West is one of them. That's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And if that's really the only reason you play games, get a different hobby. But with that, what do you think? Comment below your thoughts. I will be looking through the comments. Maybe, hopefully, I think I can delete some if they get weird, so don't. And I will see you on the next Mumble. And remember to subscribe to join the Babbling Horde. And I will see you on the next Mumble.